Being 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Basbus.
Here?
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Lynn.
Here.
Commissioner Osterhout.
Here.
Commissioner Twardy. Here.
Okay, we are all here. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. This being the December the 7th, it is the 74th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. And at this time, if we could just have a moment of silence for those that lost their life in defense of this country. Thank you very much. Some business. We have anyone with cell phones, if they would please put them on vibrate or silence them, we would appreciate it. Also, like to wish someone a happy birthday, a little belated, December the 2nd, I believe. Commissioner Lynn turned, 75 years old?
74.
Yes. I got him. I owe him a lot. No, just kidding. I knew it was 74, but I thought you might have a little chuckle at 75.
Well, thank you.
You bet. And welcome back, too.
Well, thank you. If I know I lived this long, I'd take better care of myself.
Okay, with that, we'll go to the consent agenda, City Clerk. Oh, no, I'm sorry. First of all, we got some folks standing in the back there that deserve some recognition. 2015 Police Commendation Presentation, Chief John Riley. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have looked at the agenda before I jumped. Evening.
This will be our fourth annual Police Department Recognition Awards. I appreciate the commission allowing us time to do this. Recognition of civilians and police officers in the city for actions throughout the year. This will be the last one that we have in December. I've talked with the city manager, and we're looking at moving this to February. So right now, we kind of cut the year short. Our committee meets the beginning of November, so it is November and December off.
Okay.
So we're looking at moving this to the first meeting of February. And plus, this meeting was so long. So we shorten it up.
Okay. Appreciate that. They do, too.
First, we'll start with civilians, and I would like to call up Colleen Brown. On August 7th, 2015, the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department, Sault Ste. Marie Fire Department, and the Michigan State Police responded to a multi-vehicle accident on I-75. There were several injured people in and around various vehicles. Prior to the arrival of the officers and the fire department, Colleen Renee Brown stopped on the side of the highway, exited her vehicle, and began assessing the injuries of people involved. An occupant of one of the rear vehicles was stuck inside the car where an unknown person was attempting to perform CPR. Colleen immediately took over and performed CPR until the arrival of a state police officer. The trooper was able to cut the seatbelt that was holding the victim inside the car. Colleen assisted the trooper in removing the victim, and they both continued CPR until additional officers and medical personnel arrived. Sadly, the victim succumbed to his injuries. However, Colleen Brown is to be commended for her unselfish actions in attempting to save the life of another person. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to thank Colleen Brown for her actions. I am proud to present her with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department's Civilian Citation. Next, I'd like to call up Alan, and I asked you this in the hallway, but I know I'm going to mess it up. Frappier? Close? Close enough. All right. At 10:30 a.m. on July 23, 2015, Sault Ste. Marie police officers and the Soo Locks Security responded to the farthest pier of the Soo Locks. A Canadian citizen attempted to reach Canada by swimming across the canal that feeds the Soo Locks hydroelectric plant, then crossed the rapids into Canadian territory. Prior to the arrival of the officers and security, Army Corps of Engineers employee Alan Frappier, wearing a personal flotation device, hid in the brush at the edge of the canal to await the swimmer. As the individual came closer, Mr. Frappier jumped into the water and grabbed the subject. After a struggle, Alan was able to secure the subject and bring him to the shore where officers were waiting. The subject was showing signs of hypothermia and was taken to the hospital. If not for the actions of Mr. Frappier, there was a strong possibility that the subject may have succumbed to hypothermia while in the water and possibly drowned. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to thank Alan Frappier for his actions that likely saved the life of another human being while putting his own safety at risk. I'm proud to present him with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department Civilian Medal of Valor.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call up Officer Kristen Atour. On January 20th, 2015, Officer Kristen Atour met with an 80-year-old victim of a telephone fraud complaint. As a patrol officer, she would have fulfilled her duties by collecting the pertinent information, completing an incident report, and submitting the report to the Detective Bureau for follow-up investigation. However, being determined to help the victim of this crime, Officer Atour spent additional time with the victim in going through several financial documents. Through her efforts, it was learned that the cashier's check in the amount of $25,000 was deposited into a bank account in South Carolina and had not yet been withdrawn. Officer Atour worked closely with the detective assigned to the case, the victim, and the South Carolina bank to freeze the account while the investigation continued. The funds were eventually recovered and returned to the victim. Sadly, senior citizens are often targeted for this type of fraud. These investigations are difficult to conduct, with most of them emanating from outside the state or in some instances outside the country, as was with this case. While reports are filed, it is very rare for the funds sent by the victim to ever be recovered. Through Officer Atour's thoroughness and tenacity, the victim was able to recover all of his money. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to thank Officer Atour for her professionalism and sense of duty to this community. I am proud to present Officer Kristen Atour with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department Individual Commendation. And next, I'd like to call up Sergeant Mickey Lapine. On December 4th, 2014, officers from the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department were dispatched to Minneapolis Street on the report of a domestic situation. Upon arrival, the officers saw a female standing on the front porch yelling for help. A male subject was standing next to her holding a large knife, yelling that he was going to kill her. At one point, the woman fell to the ground. The male raised the knife as if he was going to strike her with it. Sergeant Lapine, believing that the woman was in imminent danger of being struck with the knife, fired his duty weapon one time, striking the suspect in the lower abdomen. The suspect was placed into custody and transported to the hospital for treatment. The victim had cuts to both hands and a shallow stab wound to the back. She was treated at the hospital and released. Domestic violence can be one of the most dangerous incidents that officers respond to. Usually the tempers of one or both parties are very high. What appears to be just an argument can escalate without notice into a physical violent situation. While officers initially attempt to de-escalate these types of incidents, they must be prepared to take immediate action to neutralize any sudden actions that could lead to physical injury or death. Upon his arrival at the scene, Sergeant Lapine took command of the incident. Seeing that the victim was in imminent danger of being severely injured or killed, he took the actions that were necessary to eliminate the threat. On behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, I would like to thank Sergeant Mickey Lapine for his professionalism during an extremely tense situation and saving the life of the victim from serious injury or death. I'm very proud and honored to present Sergeant Mickey Lapine with the Sault Ste. Marie Police Department Distinguished Service Medal. Once again, I'd like to thank the Commission for allowing us this time to do this. I would ask, being the holiday season, that everyone remember our men and women in the military, both at home and overseas, and say the prayer to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Again, thank you to those public acts of valor, those individuals, and for, again, a job well done by the police department. Thank you very much. If you'd like to, those what would like to leave, feel free to do that at this time, and we'll just give you a couple of seconds to get pictures out, okay?
Not that they wouldn't like to hear you. Why are the department heads getting up?
They think that you want to see them.
A lot of people want to listen to you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Sit down, Brandon.
Now that Chris is more time to our report.
Right.
Okay, item number 2, public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on an agenda item? I know, Carl, you want to, after the consent agenda, you might want to say a few words. I understand. No, after the consent agenda, I'll give you time. Okay.
You let me know when.
Sure. Okay. You bet. I will. Anyone else? Okay. Consent agenda, City Clerk, please.
A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of November 16th, 2015. Recommended action, approve the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of November 16th, 2015. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Planning Commission of November 17th. B, Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission of September 25th and October 15th. And C, Zoning Board of Appeals of November 19th. Recommended action, accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, reappointment to the Historical Development Commission. Recommended action, reappoint James Moody to the Historical Development Commission for a term to expire December 31st, 2022. Item C, communications. 1, from the Downtown Development Authority, request for a resolution in support of Michigan Main Street membership. Recommended action, approval of a resolution in support of Michigan Main Street membership. Item 2, from the Economic Development Corporation, schedule a public hearing for exemption on new personal property tax, PA 328, for Silver Valley Custom Drying. Recommended action, schedule a public hearing for exemption of a new personal property tax for Silver Valley Custom Drying for December 21st, 2015 regular City Commission meeting. Item 3, from the Sault Ste. Marie Area Public Schools, request for the city to collect the 2016 summer property taxes for the Sault Ste. Marie Area Public Schools. Recommended action, authorize the agreement for collection of the 2016 summer property taxes for the Sault Ste. Marie Public Schools and authorize the City Finance Director and City Clerk to execute said agreement. Item 4 under communications is from Superior Coast Winery Incorporated. Approval of a resolution for Michigan Liquor Control Commission for brewery application. Recommended action, approve the MLCC resolution for Superior Coast Winery Incorporated. Item D, special orders of business. Schedule a public hearing of necessity for sidewalk repairs. Recommended action, schedule a public hearing of necessity for sidewalk replacement included in Special Assessment Roll SW-05-15 to be held at a regular City Commission meeting of December 21st, 2015. Item E, City Manager's Report. 1, authorization of a lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for the City Hall postage meter. Recommended action, authorize the City Manager to execute a lease agreement with Pitney Bowes for the City Hall postage meter. Item 2, approval of a resolution to exempt the city from the provisions of Public Act 152 of 2011. Recommended action, approve resolution to exempt the city from the provisions of Public Act 152 of 2011. Item 3, approval of the 2015-2016 seasonal wage table. Recommended action, approve the 2015-2016 seasonal wage table as presented. And item 4, approval of a fee for storage of vessels at the Carbide Dock Slip. Recommended action, approve fee for storage of vessels at the Carbide Dock Slip.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a commissioner that would like something further explained on the consent agenda? If not, Commissioner Tuarte.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosphus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuarte?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. At this time, we'll just take a short couple minutes. I believe Paula? Okay. Would you like to say a few words, Superior Coast Winery? Just want to make, just say a few words.
Good evening. Carl's Cuisine has been evolving for the last 10 years. We started out as a nice little cafe and went forward to phase 1 and becoming also a restaurant that makes their own wine. And we got a small winemaking facility license. And so now we're entering phase 2, where we're growing, and now we want to introduce a restaurant that not only makes their own wine, but makes their own beer. What does that mean for the community? Well, I think, we all see how the Sioux is growing, and what we've all done to be able to bring not only locals down to the downtown area, but tourism and all the wonderful things that, every community wants to see happen. Also, it means, what are we doing within the community and bringing employees? And Carl's Cuisine is proud to say that we employ 18 to 24 employees full-time, 24 in the summer, 18 in the winter months. And adding on the brewery, not only it's going to increase that, we're hiring a full-time brewmaster, we're hiring another full-time person to man, the bar and work on the wine and the beer too. So we're also increasing employment in the area, which is also good for the community. That's phase 2. We look forward to phase 3 and maybe phase 4, and who knows from here. But we're just proud to be a part of this community, and we're proud to be a part of the downtown area, and just making things happen and grow and bring people in.
Thank you very much, and best wishes. We know you'll be successful.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We are to special orders of business. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Regarding the annual audit presentation for the year ending June 30, 2015, as commissioners are aware, auditors from Dennis, Gartland, and Neergarth have completed their review of the city's financials for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2015. The city received an unqualified opinion, which is the highest opinion that auditors can give. Ms. Trina Edwards of Dennis, Gartland, and Neergarth is in attendance at tonight's meeting to provide a brief presentation of the completed audit and to express her professional opinion and answer questions on the audit. Ms. Edwards will also provide the fund balance ratio to expenditures for the general fund and attest to its compliance with the city's adopted fund balance policy. A calculation of this fund balance ratio, along with historical comparisons, has been included for review. Additionally, Finance Director and Treasurer Kristen Collins is in attendance and also available to answer questions. Would certainly like to express my gratitude and appreciation to Director Collins as well as her staff, and to Trina and Julie and their staff at Dennis, Gartland, and Neargarth, and would defer this time to the presentation of the audit. Thanks.
Welcome, Trina.
Thank you. So I didn't want to just spend a
You need a microphone so that the folks at home can hear you.
can hear it. Okay, a little bit of time tonight to go over the financial statement highlights. So it is up on the computer here, the actual audit report. As Oliver just stated, you did receive an unqualified opinion, which means that we found that everything was fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting standards, and that is the highest level of assurance that we can provide you as auditors. So with that, let's take a look at just some highlights from the financial report here. In the very front of the financial statements, which is the large bound book or the 125-page PDF, is management's discussion and analysis, and this was prepared by management of the city, and it has the highlights for the year. So under the financial highlights section here, at the end of the year, the assets exceeded the liabilities by $70.12 million, and that is an increase of $1,065,802. Governmental activities increased by $2,066,000, and business type activities decreased by $1,536,000. The net position of the total net position for the year, there is now a deficit in the unrestricted of $11,335,000. And that is due to a new accounting standard this year that the city adopted. It's GASB 68, Accounting for Pensions. And that required that the future pension liability of the city belongs to two pension plans, MERS, and they have a police and fire pension plan, that the liability that the actuary determines be recorded directly on your government-wide financial statements. So this is not a new liability. It's always been disclosed in the footnotes to your financial audit. However, this standard requires it gets recorded as a liability on your financial statements. And so that total liability at June 30th, 2014 was $19,985,000. It did decrease to $18,306,000. And so when we added that liability on there, you ended up with a deficit in your unrestricted of $11,335,000. You know, that difference is about $7 million that you were positive last year, and now you're showing a negative. But I do want to stress that nothing has changed. That liability has always been disclosed in the notes, and the city is doing what it's supposed to be doing and remitting the amount every month that the actuary has told them that they should be paying for this future liability. This is at one moment in time what the actuary says this future liability will be when everybody finally retires from the city. Of course, you can fund that over many, many years. So that was the big item. The disclosures with that this year also added about 15 to 20 pages to your audit report. So it's a lot of more in-depth information about the plans, who's covered, what the benefits are, and what those liabilities are. On a fund basis, the governmental funds of the city had a combined ending fund balance of $14,387,000, and that is an increase of $1,402,000 this year. Let's just look at some of the financial highlights here. So this is a condensed statement of net position. So this is all of the funds of the city combined. This also includes the debt of the city as well as the capital assets, which are not recorded within your general fund or your governmental funds. So I did want to highlight the new section for this net pension liability is in this non-current liabilities here. So you'll see last year it was $6.7 million, and this year it's gone up to $23 million, and it's because of that new standard. So overall, the total net position at the end of the year was $44,086,000 in your governmental activities. It was $26 million in your business type activities. And so your total net position here You have 67.999 million invested in capital assets, less the debt on those, so it's the city, the buildings, vehicles, and equipment that the city owns. You have some funds that are restricted by sources for certain purposes. That's in your special revenue funds for your major and local streets, and it's some of your trust funds are also presented here as restricted, 3 million, and so that leaves that negative unrestricted of $11 million with that pension liability included. And then overall for the city, the revenues and expenses, the total revenues this year were $23,035,000. From that, we subtract expenses of $22,473,000. And then there were net transfers from component units of $504,000, and so that left a net increase in the net position of $1,065,000. Also, I'll go over the general fund just quickly because I know that that is the main fund of the city that you're looking at on a regular basis. And that's listed back here. So as of June 30th, 2015, again, as you're used to seeing these financial statements monthly, the general fund had total assets of $9,146,000. From that, we subtract liabilities of $484,000 and unavailable revenues, which means those are not collected within 60 days of the end of the fiscal year, of $6 million. And so you had total fund balance of $2,600,000. That is approximately 24% of your annual expenditures. Your current policy requires that that be between 15 and 20%. So you're well within those limits. You're actually above those limits, which is a very healthy fund balance to have. When we take out the non-spendable and committed portion, committed is funds that have been set aside by the city commission for certain purposes. This unassigned portion here is $724,000, and that's about 6% of your annual expenses. So again, it's still very healthy. Is there any questions on that?
Anyone have any questions?
Meeting that policy.
No, thank you.
Okay, and from there, I just wanted to highlight a couple of new disclosures so that you could understand the new information this year. You did refund a bond during the year. It was the 2005 downtown development bonds. And just to highlight there that refunding resulted in a cash flow savings of $605,000 for the city. So you're certainly looking at those lower interest rates and looking at ways to save money for the city. So that was a great move on your part. Also wanted to point out for your net pension liability, that is an estimate based on an actuarial report. This is for the police and fire pension. This is the total liability that was recorded, $11.4 million. And they were using a return rate of 7.5%, and this new standard requires that they also calculate if the rate of return went up by 1% or if it went down by 1%, because it is an estimate what the liability would be. And so in this instance, if your return increased by 1%, the liability would only be $8.8 million. And if it went down by 1%, it would grow to $14.551 million. So this is, again, just for comparison purposes. So it is a big liability, but a small change in the interest rates can make a big difference. So this is disclosed both for the police and fire and the MERS pension system for the year. So with that, I'll ask if there's any financial questions before I go through the audit-related communications.
We'll let Commissioner Lynn ask the first question.
I actually have two.
Okay.
Okay.
But the first one, and I ask this every year.
I'm
In
ready.
high school, we have a grading system. A is excellent, which I got in high school. Or F, what Commissioner Osterhout got in high school. Okay. Where would you put our financial situation on a high school's grading scale?
I'd probably say you're right around an A minus. I mean, you're right up there. Your fund balance is right where it should be. Because of this new pension standard, you currently have unrestricted net assets that are negative for the city as a whole. Again, hopefully everybody understands that. You have a story to tell about that so that people understand it. There was a couple of line items that were over budget in the general fund, but overall you came in $400,000 better than budget. So there's a couple items to work on, but I would say you're doing a great job.
So A minus, that's
Very
pretty
good.
good.
It's very good. It's very good.
The other question is, I don't know if she would know it, how many, I think we had a 20-year loan on this building, the new
Yes.
City Hall. How many years have we been paying on that?
Oh, about 4, I would guess. 2011 we opened.
Has it been,
Yeah.
okay.
Or maybe 5 now with construction costs. Okay.
And that's the item. That's the item that's on the agenda as well for refunding
6B.
the bonds.
Yeah.
For that.
Should have read that instead of being a new.
Yeah. I have a question. I don't think I should have asked that question.
That comes from an F student.
Thank you,
What else?
Commissioner. Hey, I'm done.
Anyone else? Commissioner Tuardi.
Thank you. Just more of a comment. I mean, I like the new standard where you have to report the pension as line item. I think that just improves transparency and it allows the community as a whole to see where we are actually. And I don't think you need to be scared of that either because it is a long-term investment.
Exactly.
But just having it reported there just allows the community to see exactly where we are.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Okay. I'll go over the audit-related communications letter quickly as well.
Sure, if you like.
Okay. That was the separate letter that was attached with the audit report, and those are required communications with those charged with governance, so it's a lot of required language in here. The first page talks about compliance and internal controls, so if we have any recommendations, they would be included in this letter. And the second page, there is one item that we found that was considered a deficiency, and that is the preparation of the financial statements. And so under current accounting standards, it requires that management of the city prepare this entire bound audit report. And as is the case with many smaller governmental units, you've hired us to do that for you. However, because we're independent auditors, we can't be considered part of your controls or your policies and procedures. And so this is just letting you know that we've done this as a service for you, but we can't be considered part of your checks and balances, basically. On the bottom of page 2, we do talk about that new standard that was adopted, the GASB 68 for pensions. On page 3, we talk about some estimates that are used in the financial statements. The largest, of course, is that pension liability. The others are depreciation expense, the amount that's estimated for accrued sick and vacation time, the collectability of the receivables, the health insurance claims that have been incurred but not yet reported, and then financial guarantees. Significant disclosures, we talk about investment risk disclosures, the employee retirement system, and commitment and contingencies. On page 4, we do list the audit adjustments that were posted during the year. The largest is the last one there, the $18.3 million for that net pension liability, which was required by a new standard. And then the rest is really just letting you know that we didn't have any disagreements with management, we didn't have any issues with performing the audits. And then finally, on page 5, there's 2 new accounting standards coming out in future years. The first is the single audit uniform grant guidance, and that covers when you're required to have a single audit or a grant audit. It used to be if you received over $500,000 in funds, and that limit is going up to $750,000 in the current fiscal year that you're in.
Okay.
And it's my understanding that you're already above that with some
Sure.
federal funding that you have, so you will have a grant audit next year. And then under the fair value measurement and application, this is a new standard covering fair value disclosures, and the main takeaway here is that you'll have expanded investment disclosures next year where we have to report fair value of the investments as well. With that, I'll just ask if there's any other questions on anything.
Anyone have any questions of Tina, Trina? Thank you very much, Trina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. City Commission, Commissioner Gary.
Yeah, final word.
Just to accept the audit.
I'd make a motion that we accept the audit as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, support. Are there any additional questions? Just a comment, I guess, the city manager certainly made his comments to the finance department and the staff, and as a city commission, we certainly appreciate the administrative team, department heads that are very prudent in the jurisdiction of their departments, and very, I'm not going to say frugal, but I think the word prudent, because the city still does a lot of work in the community, and we do that with a limited amount of funds, and we protect those funds, and the administration continues to be very diligent in protecting those funds for on behalf of the citizens of Sault Ste. Marie, and as a commission, we certainly appreciate their efforts. Again, thank you for a great audit, and we thank the administrative team and staff for staying within the budget, and we continue to put a little bit of money into I think we've increased the general fund by, I think it was between $200,000 and $250,000 this year, and going forward, that speaks good for the commission and for the city and for the citizens. So we appreciate that very much. Anyone else? City manager, anything?
No, certainly, like you mentioned, certainly appreciate the efforts of Finance Department, Kristen Collins, as well as all of the department heads. As you mentioned, there are significant projects that are completed, and for example, engineering keeps projects within budget. There are always contingencies, and I think everybody does an excellent job, DPW, everybody that manages their large budgets, absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. So we have a motion and support. Any further comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswith?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item 5, communications. A, from the Economic Development Commission, approval of amendment number 1-2015 to lease agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan and Eagle Marine Tech LLC.
Okay, thank you. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. On May 4th, 2015, the City Commission took action to approve a lease agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie, its Economic Development Corporation, and Eco Marine Tech LLC for that business's intended use of the incubator annex structure located off of East Portage Avenue near Alfred Park for innovative wood drying processes. At the same time, the Commission also took action to approve an application for the exemption of new personal property that Eco Marine Tech LLC had submitted in connection with this business venture. Recently, on November 10th, the Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors considered and approved an amendment to the original lease agreement that would provide for the substitution of Eco Marine Tech LLC with Silver Valley Custom Drying LLC. A lease amendment providing for the substitution of parties has been included for review and consideration by the Commission. On November 10th, 2015, the EDC Board of Directors also considered the fact that the above-noted personal property exemption granted for Eco Marine Tech would need to be issued to Silver Valley Custom Drying. A separate action that would provide for the establishment of a public hearing during which this matter could be considered was approved as part of the consent agenda, and the public hearing for that matter will be held on December 21st at the City Commission's meeting on that night. It should be noted that Silver Valley Custom Drying has paid in full its current rent obligations to the City of Sault Ste. Marie through the end of December and is also current on utility obligations. I certainly appreciate their investments in the community and recommend that the City Commission approve Amendment 1-2015 to the lease agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and Eco Marine Tech as presented. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Bauer?
So move the commission approve Amendment 1-2015 for lease agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan and Eco Marine Tech LLC as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bostos?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried, and I think if you've been by the property, you see the wood that's sitting out there, and I understand they're under operation. I see Steve Ball is here, and we certainly wish you well. You bet. Okay, we are into item number 6, which is the city manager's report.
Item A under the City Manager's Report would provide for the approval of a contract with C2AE for engineering services related to the Stormwater and Wastewater Asset Management Program. As Commissioners are aware, the City Commission approved the submission of a $1.5 million grant application to the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality for the Stormwater Asset Management and Wastewater Grant Program in 2013. The project under the grant includes the development of a wastewater asset management plan, the stormwater asset management plan, equipment purchases, and staff training. The associated grant agreement was executed on November 2nd, with the budget being approved at the November 16th regular meeting of the City Commission. The grant application included a proposal by C2AE, and the proposal has since been modified to reflect tasks originally to be performed by C2AE that will be now performed by city staff based on a meeting between involved parties. C2AE will be assisting the city with the development of data collection, the development of the wastewater and stormwater asset management plans, and other activities. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission approve the contract with C2AE in the amount of $230,000 for the engineering services related to this project as listed within the included proposal. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn?
Yeah, so, question for the city manager, is C2AE, they qualified to do this project?
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. There are representatives from C2AE in attendance tonight, and I believe they probably can vouch for their credentials.
I so moved the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions or comments? Again,
I have one comment. I don't think the vouching for your own credentials would be valid. I know what your credentials are. I'm just saying that, if anybody else were up there vouching for their own credentials,
well, we certainly are.
I would look at that side.
We certainly are familiar with C2AE and their employees, and some of them have been with the project, Combined Sewer Overflow Project, since 1992 and 94 when we actually started it, and they continue now to, that is part of the asset that we're talking about, the SAW grants, and certainly they are fortunate that they continue to be involved in the project and lend us their expertise. So. I know Commissioner Lynn was partly being a little facetious when he asked the question, but...
I was only kidding.
Again, we wish you well, and we know it's going to be a lot of hard work going forward, and the accounting and the management of this plan will benefit the city for many, many years to come, and hopefully open up additional doors for grant purposes and grant security, everything. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Bostos?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B under the City Manager's Report will provide for the authorization of the refunding of the 2010 Build America Bond City Hall Water Street issue. On this matter, Finance Director, Treasurer Kristen Collins is planning to make a presentation.
Good evening, Commission
Evening,
and
Kristen.
Mayor. We have been waiting to refund this bond for a while. We did the first Build America bond refunding in December 2013 because it was the larger one. And as you know, the federal government has been sequestering these funds. We have not gotten our full subsidy. The attached comparisons to show the savings of refunding this bond are at $113,000, but that's assuming we have a full subsidy, and that has not been the case. In fact, this year, the government's already come forward to say they were going to sequester about 7% of it, rounding. So we've been excited to do this. It's time to do it. The rates are very promising that they will continue to be low for this January closing. And I just wanted to share with you the bond proceed par amount is $3,590,000. We've been paying on it since it closed in February 2010. And so we've been doing great with it. The sequestration has only been occurring for the last 2 years, and it's only $15,000 so far. But when we're looking at the rest of the life of the bond, going through 2030, it's just a long haul to be reliant on them. So we're going to try to get the rates, the amount of the rates, which currently would be ranging over 4% and up to 6.45. The current rates average 4.3%. So it's a good savings. It's only going to go upward from $113,000. So depending on, and time will tell whether we really saved what we really saved, because until we really get through 2030, we won't know. But closing costs are significant, so I'm asking for a budget for that of $150,884. And then the other budget revision asking is to transfer those funds from the funding sources. This bond covers this building, but remember there was about 10% that was for Water Street, so that's charged to Major Street. And then, of course, our expert legal staff at Miller Canfield has reviewed these bonds and has presented us with the resolutions authorizing the bonds for your approval. Are there any questions on these?
Commissioner Gage?
Said you're looking for a budget of 158, but in our packet here it's a budget of 134.
The savings to the city is anticipated to be, over the life of the bond,
Authorize a budget for
$150,000.
I misspoke. Sorry, I
That's
said
okay. I'm just
150.
making sure that
Okay.
you get the right amount.
It's 134. Yep.
Okay. Just making sure you got the right, because
Yeah.
she said 100, so I was
Yeah.
just making sure you got the right amount.
Okay.
Double check.
Okay,
Please do.
anyone have any questions or comments?
Attention.
Commissioner Lance?
So this building will be paid for 15 years. Right? Is that about what it is?
That's
Yeah. 15 years left.
We took some heat a little bit when we put a lot of money into this building to make it City Hall. But 100 years from now, I want you to pay attention, 100 years from now, this building will still be City Hall. It's that well built. It was built like the buildings in Washington, D.C.
Looking forward to seeing that, Bill.
Well, I'll probably still be on the commission. But you got to put it in perspective, what we have, and only 15 years left, and how long this building's going to be.
It's a beautiful building.
Thank you for the comments. Thank you, Chris. Anything else, anyone?
Nothing else, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Gage?
I
There's
would-
two recommendations, talking to the city attorney, those are two separate votes.
Yep, so I would move that the commission authorize city administration to proceed with the refunding of the 2010 Build America bonds by approving the 2016 refunding bond resolutions as prepared by Miller Canfield, Paddock, and Stone.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosbis?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried, Commissioner Gage.
And I would also move that the city commission authorize a budget for associated closing costs in the amount of $134,000 with 90%, $126,600. Of these costs being funded by the general fund and 10%, $13,400. Of these costs being funded by the Major Street Fund.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Boswitz?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C, under the City Manager's report, would provide for the approval of a resolution opposing House Bills 4423 through 4427. As Commissioners are aware, the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee is currently considering 5 bills, House Bills 4423 through 27, that could dramatically impact the ability of local units to set safe speed limits within their municipal boundaries. Of specific concern is House Bill 4425, which would require that speed limits be set at the 85th percentile of speed when traffic is free-flowing, under ideal conditions, and the fastest portion of the roadway. While current statute does provide determinations as to how local speed limits are to be set, it currently does not reference the 85th percentile of speed instrument used in setting speeds. While as a matter of practice, the city currently uses the 85th percentile as a parameter in setting speed limits and is a major parameter used by traffic engineers in setting limits, the engineering department is able to consider situations where other factors or roadway design should be accounted for in setting speed limits, particularly when stopping sight distances may be impaired. This legislation could damage the ability of the engineering department to consider these factors. In addition, there is language included within these bills that would potentially allow the Michigan Department of Transportation or the County Road Commission and the Michigan State Police to order the city to change speed limits as well as traffic signs. Accordingly, it is the recommendation of the administration that the Commission adopt the presented resolution opposing House Bills 4423 through 27. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. This generated a bit of discussion amongst the commission, and we thought it important that we go on record in opposition to these bills. It really takes the local control of street and the speed limit away from local folks that determine that, which would be the commission at this point, and with help from the administration. So I won't say anything about engineers. I know they deal in black and white, so when you look at a speed limit and everybody's traveling 85%, or, you know, then that's what it ought to be. But we all know that we have streets in the area that are, in my estimation, are maybe a little too fast, given the road conditions. And we're going to come back and talk about that eventually. Not today, but at some commission meeting, because people normally will travel 5 miles over the speed limit, and they know they're fairly safe, because that's not normally where you're going to get a ticket normally. But anyway, it's important, I think, that we pass this resolution and send it on to the state, because we should determine locally the speeds that our citizens travel, or those visiting our community travel. In my mind, I think also in the commission's mind. Commissioner Gage.
Given that Representative Pete Battaglia has given the city of Sault Ste. Marie a little bit of interest here lately with a couple of visits, and being that he's the chairman of this committee, I think it's important that we not only pass this resolution, but then have city administration reach out to him directly and let our position be known directly. Just
Good
because
comment.
he's been up a couple times.
Yep.
And asked what issues are important to the city. Well, this one is in your committee. It's important to the
Yeah.
city, so.
That's a good point.
Agree with passing this.
We should do that. Anyone else? Do we have a motion and support? Commissioner Bauer.
So moved that the commission approve the included resolution opposing House Bills 4423 through 4427.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Item D under the City Manager's report would provide for the approval of a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and the Fire Captains Bargaining Unit. City Administration and the Fire Captains Bargaining Unit have successfully negotiated the collective bargaining agreement with an effective date of July 1st, 2015, and an expiration date of June 30, 2018. Significant changes include a clarification to language in Section 6.4 of the existing agreement regarding compensation received when a worked holiday falls within a scheduled vacation, a change to funeral leave to make it comparable to that level of funeral leave received by the firefighters bargaining unit, an update to Section 9.5 of the agreement that fire captains will receive the same food allowance as is received by firefighters, an update to Section 910 of the agreement to reflect 1.75% wage increases granted on July 1st of 2014 and July 1st of 2015, as well as future increases of 1.75% to be issued on July 1st of 2016 and July 1st of 2017, as well as an update to Section 9.14 of the agreement to reflect the fact that fire captain bargaining unit members will receive the same pager pay as that received by members of the firefighters bargaining unit. The inclusion of language in Section 9.2 of the agreement regarding compensation parity. The inclusion of language in Section 9.21 to reflect an issued increase in boot allowance payments, and the provision of a signing bonus of $500 per bargaining unit employee. The administration would like to express its appreciation to the members of this bargaining unit and for their continued service to the community as fire captains. Accordingly, it's my recommendation to the City Commission approve the collective bargaining agreement negotiated between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and the Fire Captains Bargaining Unit as presented. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, City Manager. Commissioner Twardy.
I move that the City Commission approve the collective bargaining agreement negotiated between the City of Sault Ste. Marie and the Fire Captains Bargaining Unit as presented.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy?
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Osterhout?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
And that concludes the City Manager's report. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we're into the status reports. Item number 7.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A under status reports pertains to the 2016-17 fiscal year budget preparation schedule. Presented for the Commission is a report from Finance Director Collins outlining the proposed schedule for preparing the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Critical dates for the City Commission include Monday, February 8th, which is set up as the annual goal-setting session, Monday, April 18th, 2016, when the budget is submitted to the Commission, and budget work sessions scheduled for Tuesday, April 19th, Wednesday, April 20th, and Thursday, April 21st of 2016. A special meeting to reconcile the budget has been scheduled for Monday, April 25th, 2016. The budget is then scheduled for another formal presentation at the May 2nd, 2016 Commission meeting, with the public hearing being scheduled for the May 16th, 2016 meeting, after which it can be formally adopted. Please note that in the budget schedule, we anticipate having the 6-year capital outlay plan updated for the Commission's consideration during the month of January. The administration has worked to include additional forecasting models that it's working on so that it can perform long-term budgeting. It is also working to complete a 2-year budget with this cycle. We look forward to that. Appreciate the work of staff in preparing that.
Excellent. So we just had the audit. Now we're going to be into the budget session here in about a month and a half. That's the way it works.
Time of the year.
Excellent. Excellent schedule. So we all look forward to that. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We are into, you have another item, I understand.
Correct, Mayor. Item B under status reports pertains to the 2015 Light Up the Sioux event. The Light Up the Sioux Committee is encouraging residents to decorate their yards and homes with lights. Homeowners that participate will have a chance to win cash prizes merely by submitting the form that will be provided on the website and also available at the CVB's website. Prize winners will be drawn at random at the end of the Light Up event on January 6th. Furthermore, please feel free to visit the Tower of History this holiday season and experience the lights of Sault Ste. Marie from 210 feet in the air. The Tower of History will be open from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. from Friday, December 18th through Thursday, December 31st. The cost of admission is $4 for adults, $2 for children aged 6 to 18. It's free for children 5 and under, and families cost $10. So I certainly encourage everybody to attend and appreciate everybody's support and pulling it together.
Okay, excellent. Light Up the Sioux, certainly the tree lighting ceremony that occurred on the Friday after Thanksgiving. The city tree on the east side of the building is excellent. A lot of people have made comment about that, and it's going to be like that. We're going to keep that lit through, not on, but at least lit so that 4th of July it will also have the red, white, and blue colors that are significant during that time. And I understand that the tree on the west side, which is sort of a model of the east side tree will also be lit this year. So that, and folks have asked why not both trees, and I've told them, because I understand that's going to happen. I understand Tim Corsel and his company, who's also working with the folks on the first block of Ashman, redoing or bringing those buildings back historically. And with a number of us went to the Chippewa County Historical Society's open house, and I know Les is here tonight. He's got the Island and Book business right there, Island Craft Books, Island Book and Crafts. And that building is coming, the old bank building. The tree in the window up on the second floor, which looks onto Ashman and Portage, is a great idea. And it looks like the building's coming back, and you can just see it. I'm sure next year at this time, or at least this summer, will really be something that you can be proud of, and we'll all be proud of that you're able to do this. So, but Light Up the Sioux, Commissioner Bauer, you certainly want to say some words.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of comments, or actually I have a couple questions too. Number one is that, is Tim also going to be putting the Santa sleigh back up
Yes.
with the reindeer? Okay, because I know the city owns that, so it would be, disappointing if that didn't make
No.
it back up. But I know Tim is a guy.
It's my understanding it's on his radar.
So, okay, great. It's on Tim's radar.
And he was going to put it up this week, I believe.
Okay, that's good. Also, just a message out there for any business owners, because part of what drives this, and part of the whole concept of Light Up the Sioux is to drive tourism, and part of that is advertising outside the community and getting raising awareness for this event outside of Sault Ste. Marie. And there's a ad campaign that's running on TV 9 and 10. So the more businesses that buy into that package, then the more people will find out about Light Up the Sioux. So I would encourage any business owner who supports Light Up the Sioux to contact Lori Morley with TV 9 and 10 and get on that package. And I'm sure you all see it on TV, and you've probably seen it over the past couple of years. But it's the commercial for Light Up the Sioux, and then in the end, the sponsored by with the tagline and everything. So I would encourage as many businesses as possible to get on board with that. Thanks.
Excellent. Anyone else? Thank you, Commissioner Barr.
That concludes the status report section of the agenda. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Item number 8, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience like to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to item number 9, matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioner Tuardi.
Just a quick one. Last Wednesday evening? Last Wednesday evening, we got to have our annual dinner with the City of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And I just wanted to thank them because it was a really enjoyable event, and they always do it up really nicely. And you always feel so welcome. They're a nice group of council and their mayor, Christian Provenzano. And I just wanted to say I really enjoyed myself, so it was really nice of them to invite us.
Great. That was a very nice event, and we get to host them next year, which we are looking forward to, but we have 12 months. And we'll put that together.
We were thankful that Commissioner Lynn was not there to embarrass us all.
Isn't this guy a rookie? First 2 years on the commission, I never said a word.
Times have changed, I guess. Commissioner Gage.
I just wanted to mention, I'm not sure if you guys saw it on Facebook or not, but the Sioux Young Professionals did their annual Fed from the Sled canned food drive this past weekend throughout kind of the cluster of Precinct 2 between Easterday Avenue and Marquette. And within the span of 2 hours, they collected over 1,000 pounds of food, which is, to me, it's incredible. And I was very happy to be a part of it. And I just want to personally thank all that participated because it shows the level of commitment and a level of good people that we have in the city. I mean, I personally, I didn't win the contest, unfortunately, because it was a weight thing. My wife won, and she won't let me forget that. But I saw people dig into their cupboards, and they may or may not be able to, but nobody said no. So it was a fantastic event, fantastic weekend, so I just wanted to highlight that and say thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Lynn?
Your Honor, I would so move that we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Raymond. Thank you, Bill. Turn it off.
Bill, would you believe the last week I got to make the motion to adjourn?
He did.
He was giddy. I was